Hi, and welcome to another episode of HouseSmarts. I'm Lou Manfredini. This week, we're getting our eco on. Arbor Day and Earth Day are coming up, so we'll take a look at how they came to be and what you can do to get involved. Back in 1885, Arbor Day was named a legal holiday in Nebraska on the birthday of its founder, Sterling Morton. Today, it's generally celebrated on the last Friday in April. It all depends on the planting season for the trees. The first Earth Day began as a nationwide demonstration on April 22, 1970. I'm not going to tell you how old I was back then. It was proposed by Gaylord Nelson, who was a U.S. Senator from the great state of Wisconsin. Now, with that in mind, I've got a question for you. What can't you recycle? Let's find out. You know, recycling in our homes is actually pretty easy, right? For most of us, we've got a recycling container and we don't even have to sort out things anymore. We can put the aluminum in the paper and then somebody else figures out how to make sure it goes to the right place. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about that and also about things you can't recycle. Joining me right off is Mike Mitchell with the Illinois Recycling Association. Thanks for joining us and thanks for being with us.
Well, great. Thanks for inviting me.
You've been in the recycling business a long time. It has changed quite a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, initially, many of the curbside programs and the drop-off sites had everything, all the commodities broken down into glass here, plastic here, paper here, sometimes even mixed paper here and newspaper there.
Right.
And I think one of the biggest growth areas of recycling in terms of participation and generating more volume is what we call the single stream recycling, where you now have, many places now have a toter like a garbage can in the back alley.
Right.
That is for recycling. You put all your recyclables in there together, and the technology has improved to the point where it's all separated out as separate marketable commodities on the back end.
Allied Waste handles some of that sorting. They are the second largest waste management company in the U.S.
They are sorted out on the commercial side where it's broken up as recyclables. And on the residential side, we sort through the material, ensuring that we get all of the material that's possible to be recycled. Wood, metal, paper, things along those lines. A lot of the recycling facilities aren't solely geared towards making money. What we're looking at is also not filling up the landfills. It costs millions of dollars to create a landfill, and we can divert, as I was saying, for recycled goods, 250 tons a day that doesn't go out to a landfill.
Okay, well, let's talk about the specific things that you can't recycle. You know, you've got obviously the three things: paper, plastic, and glass. What about paper? I mean, for the most part, paper can be recycled. Any limitations there?
By and large, there are very few limitations on paper. Paper is fiber, and it could be broken down.
Well, two things. One, the envelopes with plastic on there, they can actually be separated out relatively easy with different machinery. Staples, similarly, magnets. I can take care of that.
The different types of plastic can be identified by a recycling triangle and the number 1 through 7.
Well, plastics is probably the single most confusing thing. For as much as we want to tell people it's nice and simple to recycle, it's easy to recycle, when you start answering questions about the specifics of plastic, is this recyclable, is this recyclable?
Right.
It's like yes, but, no, but, and then all of a sudden it sounds very complicated. Many recycling programs now have all plastics except number 6, which is polystyrene.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so you've got the 1 through 7, they don't take 6. What do you do with styrofoam? Well, I mean, it goes in the garbage then?
The best thing to do is to try to avoid it. Reduce, reuse, recycle. If you're recycling everything you can and you're only throwing away an occasional polystyrene tray or clamshell, you are going to be recycling 75% of what you touch.
And what about glass? Any limitations on glass?
No, glass is infinitely recyclable, but we're typically talking about bottles, jars, things like that. Plate glass is tempered differently. It doesn't break down the same way. Again, it is recyclable in its own separate large quantity,
right,
but a household is not going to generate that. The same way as if you drop a glass in the kitchen, if you drop a drinking glass, that's tempered in a different way, and so you can't put that in your recycling bin along with your pickle jar.
People think of the cups that they have. They're grinding them up, putting them back into cement. It actually causes an insulation factor. The other thing that they do is they use it actually as a frame for that concrete, and then they leave it there because it causes insulation again.
Isn't it amazing all the people and all the machinery and things that are involved in recycling? The things we use every single day. You know, the more we do, the better off we're all going to be. But if you're confused, remember to check with your service provider or municipality, because they do have a list of what they will and will not recycle. But the fact is, we all need to do more because we are going to benefit by recycling and using less.